So in this video, I want to take you through a very simple, no bullshit, step-by-step plan that you can use to create your own digital product and scale this to 5-figure months. And to be very honest with you, the reason that I wanted to make this video was because I am so fucking tired of seeing all of this content that is setting you up to fail at actually creating any real income from digital products, because they try to convince you that it's as simple as opening up ChatGPT, creating a PDF in Canva, and then selling it 3 times a day for $50. It is totally possible to make 10K, 20K, even 50K months selling digital products. I know because I've done it myself, and I'm gonna show you exactly how I did it in this video. But results like this do not come from opening up ChatGPT, using it to create a PDF, and then selling this for $50. This might have worked 2 years ago, maybe, but in 2025, it is definitely not gonna work. So I'm not saying that ChatGPT is bad and you can't use it to help you, but there's a right and a wrong way to use it. I've actually created a custom GPT to help you implement everything here, which you can download for free in the description. So first I want to give you a little context, because if someone had told me 6 months before I hit my first 50K month selling digital products, I would have told you there is no way. I just couldn't even see how this was even possible. And so I want to kind of shift your mindset and show you what is possible and give you a very realistic idea of what this actually looks like. So this right here is what the previous 12 months looked like before hitting this 50K month. And this was actually my second year trying to sell digital products. The first year I made $351 from 13 customers over an entire year. We'll go through that in a little more detail later, but the point is that this is what my second year looked like trying to sell digital products. And the thing that changed it for me was when I came across this creator, Thomas Frank Explains, who was making 100K per month from 1 YouTube channel and 2 Notion products. So after a year of thinking that I maybe wanted to create some more passive income for myself, even though I actually know now that passive income doesn't really exist, I came across this guy who actually showed me what was possible. And so I took this and thought that the answer must be to sell Notion templates. I thought that's what this guy is selling, and so this must be the key to his success. I should start selling Notion templates. And so I tried to create different templates and think about what I could sell. And as you can see, I didn't get very far. But the point at which it started to change for me was when I realized that it wasn't really about the Notion templates. Nobody actually wants a Notion template, a PDF, any kind of digital product that you want to sell. It's not actually about the template. It's about the result that this template or this thing helps people get. And when you focus on this is when I started seeing some real results. And so after figuring this out, almost a year after discovering what this guy was doing, I hit my first 50K month with my own 1 YouTube channel and 2 Notion products. Totally unrelated to what he was doing with his Notion products and his YouTube channel, but I'd figured out what he was doing and why it worked and been able to apply it to my own business. And so this is what I want to help you do by the end of this video. And so the first step of this process starts with your idea. And so to come up with an idea for a digital product, there's 3 questions that you should ask yourself. What is something that I have done that others want to do? What tools or systems make my life easier or save me time? And what is a common question that I get asked? So for example, something that I had done that other people wanted to do when I was thinking about this was I had grown my web design business to 10K per month. What tools or systems made my life easier or saved me time? It was all the templates that I'd put together working with my clients to build websites, to manage those clients. And so any of these templates could then become a digital product that I could then share with other people. When people think about wanting to create a digital product, you think that you need to create something new, but actually the best products are just incredibly simple things that you already use that somebody else might find helpful. You want to start with something ridiculously small and simple that you think might just help someone else. You don't need to create something super unique or innovative. You simply need something that helps someone else save time or shortcut something that took you years to figure out yourself. The best products are simply made by somebody who had a problem, created a solution for themselves, and then simply shared it with other people. And so to give you an example, one of these problems that I had in my own business was that when I was working with web design clients, clients, it was hell on earth to get website copy from them. I could never get what I needed from them. It was hell for me to actually write the website copy to make a website effective. And I just hated this part of the process. It was the worst thing. And so to try and make it easier for myself and for my clients, I created these templates that would streamline the process so I wasn't starting from scratch every single time. I could also give them to my clients to help them fill those in. And so this was something that was extremely helpful in my own business and something that became a digital product that I could share with other people, either clients to write their own website copy or web designers to use them with their own clients. And so it sounds incredibly simple, but this just came from me having a problem in my own business, finding a solution, and then sharing it with someone else. And so this is how the best digital product ideas are found. So when you have an idea for a digital product, a successful digital product has to tick these 5 boxes. And so first, it needs to be incredibly easy to use. You need to create an immediate quick win within minutes of purchase. And so most people think that to create a successful digital product, you want to cram as much templates and information as possible into this thing to create value. But more templates, more information, more things inside of a product does not create value. The thing that creates value is how easy is it for someone to actually use this and get results from it quickly. And so what actually creates value is simplicity and ease of use. So the second box that it needs to check is that it needs to be based on implementation, not information. And so especially going into 2026 with the way that AI is changing online education and content, this is really important. So the old way of selling digital products and info products was that you get in front of someone who has a problem and you talk about this problem and then you offer them a paid solution and paid implementation. But the new way of doing things, especially with an overload of content and with information being so easily accessible with AI, is that you get in front of someone with a problem, then you also need to give them the solution. You have to give them all the information for free, and then they pay for the implementation. People are no longer going to be paying a lot of money for self-guided courses with no templates or no direct access to you to help them implement it. This is going to get harder and harder to sell, and it's just going to make things really hard for yourself. And so your digital product needs to be something that removes steps, saves time, or does the heavy lifting for someone. It can't just be information based. And so the third box that it needs to check is it needs to solve a specific and painful problem. The more painful the problem that it solves and the more desirable the result, the more valuable the product. And so the more time it saves someone or the more money it makes someone, the more valuable your product becomes. As I said before, it's not about cramming more and more and more and more templates in it that increases the value. You price a product based on the result that it helps someone get, not the amount of stuff that you've put inside of it. And so the fourth box that it needs to check is that it needs to be content friendly. When you are selling low ticket digital products, so under $200, you need to be able to make a lot of content around your product because you need to be able to generate a huge amount of traffic to that product to make any real kind of income. And so you need to be able to easily integrate it into almost every piece of content. And so your product needs to be directly tied to the audience that you currently have and the content that you're currently creating. Or if you're starting from scratch, you just need to be sure that this is something that you are really passionate about and you are very happy to create content around this topic for the foreseeable future. If we go back to Thomas Frank Explains and then what I did with my YouTube channel, this is exactly why it works. Because Thomas Frank Explains YouTube channel that's generating $100,000 a month, every single piece of content is directly tied to Notion and the Notion products that he's selling. And so his whole channel is directing people to these 2 digital products. And then the same with my channel. Every piece of content I created was directly tied to the 2 Notion products I created and the results that it helps them get. To have huge 5-figure months, you do not need a huge range of products. You don't need a huge range of different offers. You actually only need one offer, but you need to be able to create a huge amount of content directing people to this 1 or 2 digital products. So the last thing that you want to bear in mind when you are thinking of what you want to sell is that you want it to be scalable. And so as I mentioned before, the way that this works is that we are going to give out free information in our content. The digital product is going to be the implementation of this information, so the template that saves them time implementing this. And then because of the nature of low ticket digital products, the fact that these are $200 or less, you're going to have to generate a lot of traffic in order to sell enough of these digital products. And so if you're already doing all of this work in your free content, giving out all this information to get a huge amount of traffic to your digital products, you want to also have the potential to maximize the profit from each one of these customers coming in, so that you don't have to work as hard to keep bringing in new people all the time, by also creating an offer suite of different offers that offer people a different level of support. And so you might have this do-it-yourself template, but then you might have a done-with-you coaching service that helps people implement what you teach them in the template. And then you might even have a high-ticket done-for-you service where you actually implement this for them. And so this is not actually essential when you are first launching your first digital product. As I said, you want to start very small, but eventually you want to have this entire ecosystem around your content and your product where all of these things are all talking to the same person about the same problem and the same result. And so your free content is helping people get the same result as your done-for-you service and your do-it-for-yourself template. So all of these things are connected. So you're not working really, really hard to create content that brings in a different type of person for your do-it-yourself content than your done-for-you offer. And this is often a big mistake that people make, thinking that the cheap template is for a different audience than their high ticket offer. And in some cases, this is true. It could be an audience at a slightly different stage in their journey, but actually you want all of these to be as closely tied together as possible to make your business and your job as easy and effective as possible. So these are the 5 boxes that your digital product needs to check. But the last thing that I want you to do is really overthink all of this, because the key to being really successful with digital products is just starting very small and testing a lot of things with your audience. And so when it comes to your digital product idea, what I've done to help you with this is create this custom GPT that you can use to validate your idea and improve it into a more profitable digital product. And so how this works is that it's going to ask you questions about your product idea and your existing audience and who you plan to sell this to. So I'm going to give it some information about my website copy templates. What this is going to do is then analyze your product idea and give you a score based on these 5 points and give you suggestions on how you can improve this idea. You can also ask it different questions to kind of compare the different positioning for your digital product. So for example, these website copy templates, I've positioned them for other web designers to help with their client process. But then I wanted to compare this positioning based on if I was to sell it to other creatives looking to just update their website copy. And so this has come back and said that positioning these website copy templates for web designers is stronger overall because of the recurring problem that it solves for these people and the stronger return on investment that it's going to create for web designers versus creatives looking to just update their website. And so once you've kind of used this and taken the suggestions to make changes to your digital product idea and you have a strong validation score, then what you want to do is move into testing this digital product idea with your audience. And so the best way to do this is going to be through your content. And so this GPT is also going to give you 10 different content hooks and different angles that you can use to test your idea with your audience and actually see if this is something that people would actually want to buy or not. So as I said, you can get this custom GPT for free in the description below to help you with your digital product idea. And then once you have that, we want to move into the testing. So the biggest mistake that you can make at this point, once you have your digital product idea, is to then spend months and months and months building this out, making it perfect alone in your bedroom before actually putting it out to an audience and testing it with them. It's a mistake that I see a lot of people make. It's a mistake that I make made to, I spent months building a website template that I put out once and then never talked about again. But the best way of actually creating a really good digital product is to put out a really shitty product first. So I'm going to take you through the exact process that I use to put together both of my most successful digital products. So the first one started with these website copy templates that I've already talked about. And this was actually one of my first digital products that I put together right at the start. And this was not a bad product idea, but the problem was that I put this out and then made barely any content about it. And this is why I only made $351 from 13 customers in 12 months, because I created this digital product and thought, oh, this is going to be some nice, easy passive income, added it to my link in bio from my TikTok profile, and then just expected people to go and find it without me even creating any product, testing the messaging that was working, or even just trying to get traffic to this digital product. And so after only getting 13 sales of this in an entire year, I decided it was time to really try and sell this again. And so what I did was I put out different pieces of content, testing different messaging to see what connected with people and to see what got people to buy. And so what I learned from this experience was that when I first put out these website copy templates, I was trying to sell them to business owners. My idea was that these were templates that I used with my clients. And so potential clients who might want to work with me would buy these, fill these in, and then work with me to build their website. But when I tried different messaging and tried making different pieces of content, actually showing how I physically use these templates within my own business, was that the audience who really connected and needed these were other web designers who wanted to use them with their own clients and not other business owners who just wanted to revamp their website. And so then based on this feedback, I then made improvements to these website copy templates and then made more content with the right messaging to try and sell them. And this is what generated me $6,000 from 169 customers in the next few months. And so I now had a clear audience that I was helping. And so instead of stopping there, I then wanted to develop this product further. And so I asked my audience, what do you actually need? What problems are you facing? And what can I do to help you? And so the feedback that I got was, I know how to build a website, but I want to know how I can manage my clients and streamline my workflow better. And so from this feedback, I then realized that I had a huge amount of templates that I use with my clients, that I used in my web design process, that would be extremely helpful to other web designers in their own business. And I could package all these up and put them together to create this web design workflow. And so this web design workflow was all of the templates that I use to deliver a high ticket web design service to my clients. And so I packaged them all up and then sold it as one clear result, helping web designers streamline their process and design and launch websites 10 times faster without compromising on quality. And so from actually testing different ideas and talking to my audience about what they actually wanted and needed, I was then able to create a product that they actually needed that made me $48,000 from 800 sales in under 6 months. So that's how I developed my first digital product idea. But I want to also take you through my second successful digital product, because this is going to give you more of an idea of how you take an idea and actually launch it to your audience. And so the second idea that I had for a digital product was taking this Notion dashboard that I use to organize all of my clients and my projects, and then selling that to other designers to help them do the same. And so to test this idea, I actually decided to give it out for free to 30 customers. And so from these 30 customers, I then got 5 really great reviews and 2 very honest pieces of feedback. And so one person actually gave me an entire Google Doc of all the things that they thought were missing from this template and all the things that it wished they had. And this was so helpful because I could see that this first version of this template was actually not that great. And the fact that I had put it out very quickly and tested it with real people instead of spending a lot of time on this idea and trying to create sales pages and email sequences and doing all of this to try and sell it, I could make very quick improvements to this. And so that first piece of initial content actually got a lot of interest. And so as well as giving it out to 30 customers for free, I also created a waitlist page for people who are going to be interested in the next version of this product. And so then I was then able to take this first version and improve it into version 2, which was so much better than this one. And so within 2 weeks, I then went from this first idea to launching version 2 of this product and getting $1,500 in sales from a waitlist of 300 people. And I was able to use the 5 great reviews that I'd got from giving it out for free to those first 30 customers to then launch it to my email list, which is what helped me generate these results. And so from this launch to my email list, I got more great reviews, but I also got more questions and problems. And this is important because even this version 2 was not perfect, but that is totally okay. Your first version of your product is going to need continuous improvement as you go. And so what I was able to do was immediately add more tutorials to this, change the things that needed changing, and then I was able to launch it again to my email list a few weeks later and get even more great reviews. And this product then made me $70,000 from 800 customers within the next 6 months. And so hopefully you can see now how you're able to go from your initial digital product idea to having a really successful product that people actually want. But there's one last very important thing missing from this. And without this, you will not see these kind of results. Even if you're doing all the work to listen to your audience and make improvements to your product, you are not going to be able to see these kind of results unless you are building this organic content engine around your digital product. This is the key to making all of this work, and from getting the kind of results that we've talked about up here, all of this comes together in your organic content engine. And so the way that we create this really effective sales system to sell your digital product goes back to this idea here that content and marketing and the way that people buy info products is changing. And so as I mentioned, the old way is that people pay for information and implementation, but the new way is that you give the information for free and people pay for the implementation. And when you do this, this is what makes your content really, really, really effective at selling these digital products. And so right now, the last few years, everyone is getting into making content and it is getting saturated. But there is a huge opportunity for you to stand out because most people are making very surface level content. They're still trying to do it the old way where they give out surface level information and then try to put the real course or the real information behind a paywall. But what we want to do and what makes my YouTube channel and Thomas Frank Explains YouTube channel so effective is that in our content, we basically give away all of the information that would be in a regular course and then just sell the implementation. And so you're literally creating a video course in your content that people can use, but if they want to save time, then they can buy your templates to help them implement it for themselves. And this is what makes your digital product an absolute no-brainer, because actually a lot of the value that you're giving to people lies within this content here. And because it's free, people are completely blown away at the amount of value that they give in your content, and it builds a huge amount of trust. And then because of the nature of digital products, where you can create something once and sell it a lot of times, and there's no cost involved in this, you can then put a huge amount of value into these digital products too, and a huge amount of templates to help people implement everything that you teach in your content. And it becomes a natural next step after watching your content for them to then buy your products. And you create something that is a no-brainer because it is clearly worth far more than you are actually charging for it. And so as you can see, this is the result right here. My 5-part video series leading to 2 no-brainer digital products that I had created with my audience based on what they actually wanted and needed is what created over $300,000 in product sales over the next 12 months. This is as close to passive income as you're ever going to get right there. But as you can see, it took me almost 2 years to get to this point and a lot of trial and error. It is definitely not passive and it is definitely not easy. It takes a lot of work to get to this point where you have a digital product that people actually want and that perfectly aligns with the content and the audience that you're attracting. If you're starting from scratch, this can feel really overwhelming, which is why I put together another in-depth breakdown of exactly how to start doing this in this video here.